The Three Phases of a Revolution, January 25, 2017. By Lisa Gawlas. Website, www.mysoulcenter.com. I have got to celebrate the fact that readings went back into single view. Phew baby, was that a relief, energetically and visually. Wish I could say the same for my mind this morning lol. There is more of a conflict of desired output of information swarming around me. I want to talk about the details of the readings from yesterday, spirit not so much. Isn't this mind manipulation lol? Oh well, spirit wins. And just for the record, they prefer to call this, detailed focus of importance instead of mind manipulation lol. But here goes, we are in the final phase of Earth's evolution. The first phase was when we chose to forget ourselves, our mastery of light and love and joy of being here in this extraordinary realm of matter. It was as if we put the thickest of curtains around every window in our house and never opened, never realized we could open them and let light in. So we toiled away in the dark, focused solely on the mundane, on survival and animalistic instincts and pleasures, which was part of the game. And oh how well we mastered being lightless. Our bodies were closing down after 30-40 years of being in the earth realm. We spread all kinds of sickness to each other, and the second phase begun. The first curtain was swung open by our friends from the stars, light was shed, new thoughts were formed, hope was inspired, new technology and was of helping, born. Ascension began. In our thick darkness we decided to deitize our star friends, call them gods, and what little power we felt, we gave to them in ceremonies. Some ceremonies are still ongoing even today. Thousands upon thousands of Earth years later, we finally had enough incarnated beings who remembered their light, their oneness with the all, their innate abilities, even if not fully realized yet. They knew they were in inner possession of them and did what they came to bring those abilities into the light of their life. This created and continues to create a big stir on Earth. We now see Earth as a living part of our own life systems, that should be loved and cared for, not pillaged. For this game to transition in the third and final phase, it was required that a certain amount of incarnated beings were owning their oneness and expressing their thoughts and views outwards. The true energy of light is only efficient when it is moving. One cannot sit in a darkened corner and hold their light, which is equivalent to having a lamp in one's house that never gets turned on so the light waves move outwards to illuminate the whole room, but the potential is there, their electricity is there. In our Earth years 2011 to 2012, what is now commonly known as critical mass of the ascension cycle, happened. Which gave birth to the third cycle, the ascended body housing the partnered soul. A bridgeway was created that stretched through 2016. Much had to be undone for the third phase to become. Kinda like putting our cars through the final wash before it gets waxed. Old concepts, self-worth issues, and higher strands of soul light had to be inlaid and used, emphasis on used. By the third quarter of 2016, the critical mass needed a much smaller number than for the previous phase was reached. The final phase begun and continues. The unified whole of body and soul together as one whole life force. The expansion of light upon Earth. What we need to really start to see, via our soul eyes, what the perception of now really is. 5,000 years ago, 5,000 years from now is all happening now, and spirit sees it clearly as now. So when we get the feeling that something is available now, it really is, but it may not be reflected in the 6:15 am January 25, 2017 dateline, our linear unfolding of this magnificent game of light. With that said, all the potentials of change within our DNA, our cellular and light bodies have been given over many millennia. We have been, slowly, which is needed for functionality in the earth realm. Over time our DNA has been changing. Lifespans getting longer, cures of disease, both by energetic treatments as well as medical treatments, overturned and health restored. The emotional field of Earth is clearing. The clearer the emotional field becomes on Earth, the faster the changes throughout humanity, not just for one or two people. The clearer the emotional field, the higher function our true DNA becomes for all. Yes, in the ever-present now, our bodies are living hundreds of years in the youth stage, regenerating torn or broken parts naturally. The Earth is a thriving community of self-recognized beings of light. We are self-governing with open and celebrated relationships with our star family. This is the soul's vantage point. This is what we incarnates are doing, restoring, remembering. That said, do not forsake the moment of Earth time we are living for what we are bringing forward in consciousness and DNA. Our physical bodies are still in radical change as old body parts become non-essential and new body parts start to be presented, more often than not, through the new babies whose DNA have much more light flowing through them at the moment of birth, ascended beings with much more functional DNA. This has been an ongoing process since the turn of the century. That is, coming into the 1900s and even more accelerated coming into the 21st century because of the massive movement of light across Earth. With all that said, and we pray, understood, the soul is equally still in its own evolutionary process of itself. Meaning there will be challenges to overcome. We cannot divorce the elements of matter for the sake of energy potential. We exist as pure energetic beings in perfection at home, in spirit, in heaven. What would be the point to do the same on Earth? Navigating matter is a gift. Not overcoming it, but working in unison with it. We all need to recognize that the game we are playing is equivalent to a time-released capsule, but instead of working with the tick of the clock, it working with the tick of light held firm in the embodiment of life in matter, in each other. So to recap, the first phase was clearing the darkness out of our hearts and minds. The second phase was infusing the field of soul light into our hearts and minds and shining outwards for all to see, and now the expansion of the fullness of light for all to use. Emphasis on use. This is not a race, it's an evolution. As we can sit back and recognize, all three phases are happening at once at our very windows. The game is far from over. In truth, it barely got started in earnest. On that note, Spirit has finished their transmission with a song that has taken me by surprise, at least at first. I had to listen to the whole song to really understand why I am hearing Queen, good ole Freddie Mercury singing "Stay focused, do what you're doing, be opposing but focus on your balance, your bicycle masculine and feminine divinity and not separately either. Have an amazing day my loves. Hugs of clarity and grace to and through all. By Lisa Gawlas. Website, www.mysoulcenter.com